Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio, and this week on Check Please, musician Dave Spector says if you want a place that orchestrates fabulous food and wonderful views, look no further than his downtown destination. But student rabbi Sarah Rosenbaum always gives thanks to her recommendation because of its soulful take on dozens of delicious dishes. Up first, oil and gas negotiator Sharif Shauki is always pumped up over his pick. He says for the best and only Macanese restaurant in the city, join him for some life-changing food at Fat Rice.
The type of food we serve here at Fat Rice is primarily the food of Macau, which is a mixture of Portuguese, Chinese, Malay, and Indian, but we also look at other Portuguese Eurasian communities around the world.
People can expect food and flavors they've never heard of. A lot of the food that you would find here, you have to go to a lot of people's homes in Macau, so it is pretty unique and really special.
It's exhilarating to be able to offer the style of food because we travel, we find these dishes that we feel that are lacking in our lives. It's a really nice opportunity for us to expose these dishes and these ingredients, these heritage recipes with Chicago and beyond.
I think when we opened, we really wanted to create an environment that was our home. I mean, welcoming you into our home every day. That's why I wanted to have the open kitchen, having a space that was not your typical restaurant.
It's not stuffy, it's really casual. I mean, come as you are.
So Sharif, give us the skinny on Fat Rice.
I chose Fat Rice because they're doing things that no one else in Chicago is doing. When I first heard about them and heard it's Macanese food, what the heck is Macanese food? And by going there a few times, I heard that Macau was on the ancient spice trade route, so they had cultures going in and out for centuries. And then the Portuguese had more of a permanent base there, so they brought their influences too. And so they have this wonderful mix of flavors, of spices, of combinations, of tastes that you just won't find anywhere else. So it makes you stop and take appreciation of something that you're not used to.
I loved it as well. It's right on Diversey in Sacramento, I believe, and it's kind of stark around there. I think there's like a hardware store, an auto parts store, and not the usual Logan Square hipster vibe. But once you're in the restaurant, you're in another world, and it's really a great experience.
What did you get?
Samosas.
Oh, the samosas were so good.
They were incredible.
We loved those.
I also love they brought out these little plates of pickled cabbage with great spice, like a little sweet chili paste, and I really love those. I was blown away by the combination of flavors and spice that struck me from the appetizers to the Fat Rice specialty dish, which kind of reminded me of a paella.
Yeah, it's kind of like a paella meets bouillabaisse meets bibimbap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just really creative food. I had Portuguese beer for the first time, which I loved. It was totally unique. I'd never heard of Macanese cuisine, and I was with a cousin who had lived in Hong Kong for a while, so he was familiar with some of the flavors and some of the dishes. But yeah, I definitely would go back.
Great. And Sarah, what about you?
I liked it a lot. I had a fun time. And so we had the bites to start with. So there was eggplant, spicy eggplant, which was so good. Love that. Pickles and peanuts. And I'm a pickle girl, so I loved the pickles. The peanuts were good as well. We got shishito peppers. They weren't quite spicy or like charred enough for my taste, but they were good. We got a delicious beet salad that I wish there had been 3 times as much of it. There were fresh edible flowers on it. That was cool and very beautiful. It had the Portuguese chicken as well, and it was really, really tasty.
Abe Conlon, the chef, and Adrian Lowe are the owners. And so she's Chinese, he's Portuguese, so it's kind of this perfect combo. And when they went to visit Macau, they were trying to find more of the traditional food in Macau, and they saw that it was disappearing. And so this was kind of a project to almost preserve the food of Macau. And it's, one of a few places in the States that's actually focusing on this type of food.
For weird flavor combinations, they have something called a rice crisp, and they take essentially a Rice Krispie treat and seaweed with pork floss and wrap it together. And when my fiance and I were trying them, we kind of stopped and did we like this? And like, yeah, we actually really like this. This is really genius.
My fiance and I had one of the vegetarian dishes, the glass noodles with the mock duck. The mock duck was really good, and they said that one of the features of that dish was a smoked mushroom, which we love mushrooms and we love smoked things, but I didn't really get that from the mushrooms, so I was a little disappointed by that main course. However, the egg custard tarts
They're known for them,
so good. And I know they have a bakery next door.
Yeah, it just
and
opens.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
opens,
Right.
and they have some of their things on the menu at the bakery, and then they do also sweet and both savory. I think they're doing a play on a Chicago hot dog right now, which is really unusual. And then at night, I think it turns into a spillover room for the restaurant.
Sharif, who would you suggest people take to Fat Rice?
So I went there with my fiance, and we found it to be intimate. They have a couple two tops, but then there were bigger groups and they were having a raucous time. So I think it can accompany both.
Yeah, good date spot, I'd say.
For someone who's adventurous or?
Yeah, definitely adventurous and open-minded as well.
And I've always found the service to
Yeah.
be really good.
Yeah, the service was excellent.
And especially for like a hip Logan Square spot, you might not always get warm, welcoming service.
Is that too cool, too chic to speak?
Right, but
You know?
The server definitely had tasted everything, and I could tell by the way he described the dishes that he had had them before, which is something I appreciate in service, that they can really speak to the dish.
Yeah, I think it's very frustrating when you go to a restaurant and you ask what's good, and they're like, oh, everything's good.
Right.
And you're like, so that
Yeah.
helped me not at all. Well, Sharif, you chose Fat Rice. Sum it up for us.
Go to Fat Rice if you want a new experience and one that you won't soon forget.
Great. And Dave?
Really, really interesting food. I definitely would go back.
Great. And Sarah?
Go to Fat Rice if you love dynamic flavors, if you like something new and interesting, and if you are an omnivore.
You can try the arroz gordo for yourself at Fat Rice, 2957 West Diversey Avenue, 773-661-9170. Open for lunch Wednesday through Friday, dinner Tuesday through Saturday, and brunch on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $35. Sometimes Chicago's beautiful views are taken for granted, but Dave Spector says that the dinner at his selection will make you fall in love with the city all over again. He says for a beautiful night out, make your way to LaSalle Street and stop by River Roast.
We're in the center of the greatest city in the world, Chicago, Illinois, my hometown, home of the blues, on the Chicago River, which has now become quite something special. We specialize in whole roasts. We do a whole roasted chicken, which is as good as you're going to get anywhere. Whole roast pork, whole roasted beef, fish, vegetable roast, and they're all carved at the table side. For me, the blues is something I got into at a very young age. Really fun and vibrant. People are getting into the music, and it's a very communal, fun place to be. The focus of the restaurant is not on the plate, what's in front of you, but it's on the center of the table. Therefore, people's eyes are at each other's, and really focusing on what's important, which is family, friends, and food.
Thank you very much. Smiley till that tall. Let's give it up for my buddy.
So Dave, you say everything flows perfectly at River Roast. Why'd you choose it?
River Roast is just a great downtown Chicago experience that's very relaxed, unpretentious, amazing patio on the new renovated Riverwalk with great views. And the food is, really creative, elevated comfort food, I would say. probably the best roast chicken I've ever had in a restaurant. It's just sublime. Great salads, fresh oysters, which I love. You know, the two chefs that opened it are Tony Mantuano from Spiaggia and John Hogan, who I knew from Kiefer's, the steakhouse. And John's always there. He's just like a great, warm, classic Chicago character. His live music aspect of the restaurant is, you know, really coming from his soul, you can tell, as well as the food.
I liked it. We went for blues brunch, and so it's really fun to be able to watch the musicians. Really, they were jamming. The food was really good. We got the boatload of veggies.
Yeah.
And we got the roasted fish, and we got the roast chicken. I have to tell you, the roast chicken was definitely not my favorite. It was, I thought for a restaurant who's known for a roast chicken, the roast chicken should be the world's best roast chicken, you know, and the skin wasn't crispy. And so that's something for me that like a sublime roast chicken would have crispy skin, but those potatoes, oh my goodness, I could have eaten those potatoes all day long.
They roast them and then they fry them.
Oh my God, it was so good. And the boatload of veggies was also really, really delicious. And the fish, I thought the fish was better than the chicken, actually.
I know, maybe we just had an imposter chicken. I think that's what must have been what happened.
Sarah, I think you bring up a good point. Like the vegetables, they're doing something really right with the vegetables. We were asking our server what vegetables should we get, and she said that the chef recommends picking the vegetables that you like the least, and then the chef will change your mind on it. So my fiance doesn't like carrots, so we got the carrots. And so they were just like lightly cooked. They still had a good crunch to them. They had cheese and then this beautiful, thick balsamic sauce, and it was mind-blowingly good. So that was a highlight. But we got to start the chicken gobbets. It comes with warm honey, like adds a nice dimension of flavor to it. They drizzle over it, and then we got ourselves the pork. And you know, it's really fun. They make a big deal about coming out and carving it tableside. Interestingly enough, we really like the bread. If you see on the menu, it says bread available upon demand, and we demanded it. And the bread, the bread is just really, really nicely cooked. Just really high quality bread, and it comes with a spread that's supposed to mimic a French onion soup, which is, I've never seen that before. I think that was the most unique thing that we tasted.
John Hogan, the chef, is, you know, everyone always says, oh, he's from Kiefer's, but I mean, John's been a chef in the city for over 30 years. He's classically French trained chef and actually cooked in French restaurants forever. So that's where you see these kind of fun but whimsical takes on French onion spread. Like his charcuterie is all made in-house. I think you see more of John's cooking chops at River Roast. And you and Chef John Hogan share a love of music. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you can hear and do at River Roast?
River Roast books Chicago blues exclusively, and Thursday evenings they have live music, as well as weekly Sunday brunch with live blues. It has that casual quality of tableside sharing, along with these high ceilings and kind of a loft-like vibe with the river right there. I think it's really unique, and you know, I'm not a big fan of the pretentious hoity-toity downtown restaurants very much, so it's nice to go somewhere that just kind of keeps it real.
We have to talk about how cavernous that restaurant is. It is so big.
It's
we were there on a Friday night, and there were a good amount of people there, but there were still a good number of tables that weren't filled just because it's so big, so that kind of takes away from the energy a little bit.
The things I liked is that it was a big space, and no one was hankering for our table, and so we spent about 2 hours with friends that we hadn't seen in a few weeks, and we all enjoyed many brunch cocktails.
Did you try the Bloody Mary by any chance?
One of the people in my group did, and it had this skewer, yes, and it was like, whoa, it was amazing. And it had like meat, cheese, pickle, meat, cheese,
That's
pickle.
where you see the steakhouse training come out,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Like giant-sized Bloody Marys with everything possible in this skewer.
Yeah.
So Dave, you chose River Roast. Sum it up for us.
Great downtown Chicago restaurant, live music, and their roasted meats are really exceptional.
Great. Sharif?
For great views of the river in a restaurant that will please everyone, check out River Roast.
And Sarah?
Go to River Roast if you're looking for a casual, delicious place to hang out with a group of friends.
See the gorgeous city views for yourself at River Roast, 315 North LaSalle Street, 312-822-0100. Open for lunch Monday through Friday, dinner every day, and brunch on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $45.
This segment of Check Please is made possible in part by Dutch Farms. Visit DutchFarms.com for more information.
Hi everyone, my name is Philippe Andre from Oceanique Restaurant in Evanston. Today we're talking about pairing wines with roast chicken. So we're going to start off with some wines that have great balance and acidity and a little bit of tannin, a little bit of weight to go with that chicken. Now chicken being a little bit on the leaner side, we can kind of use some wines that are a little more versatile in the sense of we could do a red and a white. I like to always start off with maybe a Pinot Noir, something with some tannin but also some bright acidity to it. So I reached out to a friend from Oregon and they sent me a nice big bottle because they know that I like to share. This is Willamette Valley, Oregon's Pinot Noir by Alexana Winery. We also have another option which would be from Burgundy, which is a Pinot Noir from France. This is Latour's Corton. Now, my grandmother loves to use great spice in her food cuisine, so something that's maybe a little bit spicier, has a little more acidity to it. I like to go with champagne. Champagne is arguably probably the best wine to pair with any kind of dish, and I think we've got great representations here from Moet and Krug. They'll be perfect with your chicken. And lastly, we've got a Chardonnay from Sonoma. Now, Chardonnay from Sonoma being a little bit on the richer side, I think this plays well. This producer, Smoke Tree, has done a great job of showing balance without overpowering the style of the varietal. Cheers, Chicago.
Sarah Rosenbaum has been searching far and wide for a truly memorable Mexican restaurant. And she says she found it on Ashland Avenue. She says if you want cazuelitas, burritos, and the top tacos in town, join her at La Lagartija.
I've been in Chicago for almost 30 years, and as a chef, for me it's my interpretation as far as Mexican food is in another level. Freshness, which is the key, especially to have a really good taco, because you can get tacos anywhere, but you know the three main components, which is tortilla. We do handmade tortillas here, you know, how you prepare the meat or vegetable, and also, you know, the salsa. So we do 3 different kind of salsas and with different kind of chilies. So, you know, it makes such a difference. People, they come because it's colorful, it's bright, the music, the atmosphere. People, they don't expect that quality of food. And then when they leave the restaurant, they say, wow, this is amazing, you know. They're really satisfied. So it makes me really, really happy. That's the most wonderful feeling.
So Sarah, you say you live for La Lagartija. Tell us why you chose it.
I love La Lagartija because it is a casual, vibrant Mexican restaurant. It is definitely a throwback kind of taqueria. It's, you know, there are a lot of taco places popping up in the city that put things on your tacos that you've never seen on your tacos before, and all sorts of new interesting creations, which I also love.
Right.
But La Lagartija is just what I think this family probably makes in their house. And the tacos and the cazuelitas and the lambres all remind me of my childhood in Southern California, but a little more upscale than like the hole-in-the-wall place in Los Angeles that you find. It's nice to be able to sit down and get served, even if it is still casual, and you can go in your yoga pants and feel okay, but still get a sit-down meal and stay as long as you want.
So I didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into when we walked in, because I don't think you really go for the decor there. I mean, it's a little nondescript, it's a little generic, but the drinks and food just totally changed our minds. It was really, really good. We had an avocado margarita, which I've never had. It didn't really like smack of a lot of avocado. It's almost more like cucumber. cucumbery. I had a pineapple and jalapeno margarita.
My favorite.
Like when I eat spicy food,
so
like I want to
good.
cry because it's so spicy. And there's those fresh jalapenos like got me to that point at the end with the little dregs at the bottom. Like the drinks were amazing. They're cheap for Chicago. And if margaritas aren't your thing, there's a bucket of beer, Mexican beer for $20. So you can't go wrong with that.
There is.
Starting with the drinks, I agree. I had probably one of the 2 best micheladas I've ever had. Just made perfectly with a great combination of salsas and beer and cayenne pepper, which I love. Food-wise, solid tacos, definitely an authentic down-home vibe. I eat at a lot of the more upscale, you know, hipper taco joints around town, and this is definitely far from that, which I liked. You know, I had a great fish taco, a great shrimp taco, really great guac and chips, you know, classic traditional Mexican fare.
So for me, one of the reasons I love La Lagartija is because it's very good for people with all sorts of dietary backgrounds. So you can go there if you don't eat meat, and you can go there if you're gluten-free. So it offers a wide range for a lot of people. They have 4 pescatarian-friendly tacos, which is not that common. I really like the rajas taco, and my fiance loves the casualita. He could eat that morning, noon, and night.
Found the casualitas to be a little oily,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, in kind of a decadent way, but,
Yeah.
you know, would have preferred them a little less on the greasy side.
But then how do you get that?
Oh, true.
You have to pay for the chips and salsa, which maybe I'm a little spoiled to expect
Yeah.
that, and maybe that's unfair, but that was something that I don't think I've experienced in Chicago.
Every time I've gone there, I thought maybe I should tell them that it would be in their best interest to like just bring the chips with the salt, because they give that little trio of delicious
right.
salsas
It's
at the
really good.
beginning. Salsa
It
has
was fun to
sauces for
mix it
everything.
into the different things,
It
and it can
was.
adjust your spice level. The food itself was just like top notch. We had alambres, which I never had before, and essentially like a Mexican stir fry. The vegetables were fresh, the chorizo was really good, and so the food was excellent. I think we had a little bit of trouble with the service. There was one person working, and she was hosting, she was serving, she was bartending, and she was doing takeout.
Yeah. Yes, and she works her tush off.
She
You know,
does. Yeah.
she's been there as long as I can remember.
But it's definitely like something to be said that this is an actual family restaurant, so I don't hold that against them.
So Luis Pereira, who's CIA trained, he's the chef there, and that's why, like even with the salsa and the chips, everything's homemade, and the salsas, like Sarah said, are really meant as sauces to enhance your meat. And the tacos are cooked to order, so they're cut off the meat and cooked to order, which is why everything takes a little bit longer.
You could really taste the difference. If I lived in the area, I would definitely be there all the time. I'm curious, like Dave, would you make a destination to go to that restaurant?
Well, it's really close to the United Center, so if I were going to a game or a show, a
But
concert,
what if you weren't? Would you go across town? To
probably not, just because they're really good taquerias, and I live in Lakeview, and
You have a lot of good stuff over
pretty
there.
closer to where I live. But if I was in the area, I definitely would stop in.
Well, Sarah, you chose La Lagartija. Sum it up for us.
If you want a place to go with delicious, authentic Mexican food, to stay a while and drink some delicious margaritas with your friends, head over to La Lagartija.
Great. Sharif?
If you're in the area, go get the avocado margarita and get some really good Mexican food.
Dave?
Yeah, not a place to go if you're looking for atmosphere, but great quality Mexican.
Taste the tacos and more at La Lagartija, 132 South Ashland Avenue, 312-733-7772. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Monday through Saturday. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $15. So on this week's show, we featured Fat Rice in Logan Square, River Roast in River North, and La Lagartija on the near west side. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we made our way to Diversey and visited Fat Rice. Sharif recommends it for the ultimate Macanese food experience. Sarah had a fun time and enjoyed the attentive service. Dave was blown away by the combination of flavors and spices. Then we landed on LaSalle and stopped in at River Roast. Dave recommends it for the beautiful views, delicious food, and great music. Sarah enjoyed the blues brunch, but said some parts of her meal were underwhelming. Sharif had a good time and raved about the unexpected approach to vegetables. Lastly, we traveled to Ashland and checked out La Lagartija. Sarah recommends it for the casual vibe and Mexican cuisine with a terrific twist. Sharif said it was excellent food and loved the margaritas. Dave enjoyed the tacos and had one of the best micheladas of his life. We've had a wonderful time this week. I want to thank my guests, Sharif Shouki, Dave Spector, and Sarah Rosenbaum. Join us next week with 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine Dioria, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.